Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman. And this afternoon we have with us, or I think it's this afternoon where you are.
Not quite, almost.
Annette Clark from the law firm of Callahan, Thompson, Sherman, and Caudill.
Correct.
How was that?
Very good.
Good. I practice. Okay. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So to keep with the theme of the show, Latte with a Lawyer, what's your favorite morning beverage to get you started?
So I don't know if this is allowed, but Monster. I don't drink coffee, and so my drink of choice is highly caffeinated, highly chemicaled Monster.
Excellent. Good stuff. Well, it's just a different form of caffeine, so
Correct.
That's allowed. Good stuff.
Well, good.
So listen, tell us about the kind of work you do. What's your practice?
So my practice is a mix, mostly plaintiff, but I do defense of employers. I have some clients who've been with me for many years, and we do employment defense. I also have plaintiff's work. My background before I switched attorneys was in the insurance industry, so I do insurance bad faith. I do quite a bit of class action, both on the consumer end and employment. And I do some larger personal injury cases.
Okay, good. But the firm as a whole is a defense firm. Is that true?
I think that is probably a fair statement. We have kind of one department that is plaintiff. A lot of times those plaintiff cases will come from defense clients who have an issue, and so we will also handle that for them. But yes, overall, the probably 80 to 90% of the work is defense work.
Okay, interesting. So that's interesting that defense will lead to some plaintiff work. Is that on you? That seems unusual, right, for most firms?
Because we have private clients,
Yeah.
they're not all insurers. In my experience, it's not that unusual. You'll have an institutional client that has something crop up. It could be a breach of contract case, or it could be a personal case that they have. Some of my bad faith cases have come through that route where a personal client has an issue. And so then we will handle that aspect of it for them.
Oh, I see. Interesting. And do you do that like traditional plaintiff attorney, like on contingency?
For the most part, yes. There are some things that we do, for example, negotiate employment contracts, that sort of thing, that we'll do on an hourly basis, because I think it's probably more equitable for the client, since it typically is not going to be that long-term investment. But if we actually take it to litigation, it'll be on contingency.
Okay. And so how much litigation do you do?
Basically 100%.
Oh, that's all you do. Okay. And
Yeah.
do you get in the courtroom? Are you doing jury trials?
Yeah, I just finished a nearly 4-week bad faith jury trial, so I'm still in recovery right now.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So how'd you do? How'd you do?
Did well. Our client won, and we got punitive damages, so very happy with the outcome.
Oh, very nice. So boy, you're making it easy for me to ask you questions, because I want to hear about like how you prepared for that, what your strategy was to actually prevail and hopefully maximize the verdict for the client.
Sure. Well, I think so much of preparation is just knowing the case. This particular case had gone on for nearly 6 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was, the insurance company fought tooth and nail, and a lot of issues along the way with, discovery, that sort of thing. But really the first thing is just digging in. And sometimes when you've had a case for that long, you need to spend a little more time reacquainting yourself what happened year 1, year 2. But that's how I prep. I will basically go into my office and I will look through every single piece of discovery that's come in, every issue. And along the way, I try to kind of build what our theme will be at time of trial, and then kind of update that as we go. And I have to give a nod to, the book Rules of the Road. I think that every litigator should read that book, where it really lays out for you in the beginning, the rules that you want to, educate the jury about, to let them know why those rules were broken. And so it's really a great roadmap that along the way you do that. This rule was broken, and you kind of update your list, and it helps to keep you in that mindset.
Oh, I see. What was the case? Tell me about the case again.
The case,
Yeah.
it was a bad faith case.
So what does that mean, bad faith?
So that means that the insurance company wrongfully denied benefits to the insured. So the insured buys a policy, and what you're essentially buying is a promise that when something goes wrong, you've paid your premium, they're going to do the right thing.
But what was the liability in this case?
So the liability was essentially an injury, and a policy which covered that injury.
It was an injury.
And and the insurer denied the claim.
Okay. And how big of a outcome was it?
Well, the outcome was $1 million for the punitive damages. The damages themselves were fairly small, but the jury found that they acted wrongfully and they punished them accordingly.
Oh, interesting. So that's very good. So how did you get there quantifying or coming up with that $1 million punitive damage?
Well, I asked for higher, and I think that's what you always do. You ask for higher, believing that, they will hopefully fine for punitives and award you something. But I think it is always more difficult when the actual out-of-pocket damages are fairly small.
Yeah.
But you have to highlight to the jury that the promise was still broken. And I think we all understand that about insurance, right? We don't voluntarily give this money. We give it so that when something goes wrong, they're going to do the right thing.
Sure.
And in this case, they didn't, and the jury agreed.
Okay. Do you use focus groups, mock trials? I mean, how do you test your theories?
We did do a mock trial in this particular case, and it was very helpful.
Okay.
I had actually not done mock trials myself before, and decided to do one in this particular case. And from what I've heard from people who do them a lot, they're not particularly helpful in assessing damages, but they are helpful in telling you the holes in your case. And that is something I certainly found to be the case. Some of the evidence that we thought was strongest, they didn't put that much weight in, whereas other things that we didn't think were as important really bothered the mock jurors. So that helped us to kind of change our strategy a little bit when we presented the evidence.
Yeah, okay. So going forward, you may do more of these?
Definitely. I mean, it was very helpful.
Interesting. So if it doesn't help you with damages, how do you get that? How do you try to figure that out?
Who knows? Geez, I wish I could tell you, because I had, my thing is always to talk to as many people as you can who work in the industry. I think that's how we all learn, is by sharing information. And some were saying it's, through the roof, and other were saying, well, geez, you better settle that. I don't think that's even worth, 50,000. So, I think you really just have to kind of get as much information you can about similar verdicts. And then you just have to go with your gut and believe in your case. If you don't believe in your case, it's not a good one to take to trial.
That is true. But you're not combing through past cases and trying to, have some statistics to lean on. Yes,
looking at past verdicts, yes.
Okay.
But even that, if you look at Westlaw, it's limited, because not every verdict is going to end up published somewhere. You try to do the research, and that's certainly what we did. But again, the variance is dramatic. So I think in my case anyway, the goal is to treat the jurors intelligently and tell them what I think it's worth, but tell them it's your choice in the end, but give them the tools and the information they need to hopefully come close to the number you're looking at.
Got it. And how'd you go about picking your jury too? I mean, talk about that process.
So there is another nod that I will give. Someone told me about a case called Don't Eat the Bruises by Keith Mitnick. And I read that a few years ago. And it really is a valuable tool, because I've read so many books over the years about how you pick your jury. And let's face it, how many of us have said, wow, I really pegged that one wrong. but it's a whole strategy about how you get jurors over the hump of bias. You explain to them what a bias means. It really, all of us have bias. Doesn't mean you're prejudiced. It doesn't mean you're unfair.
Of course.
It's just life experience.
Yeah.
And it was very helpful. Many of the jurors just right away, yep, I'm biased. And that helps you to gather information. It still wasn't perfect. One of the jurors I pegged as being our best was not. And that juror helped to bring the verdict down. The other jurors were ready to give a much higher verdict.
A lot more, yeah.
Yeah, so I certainly didn't get it right, but I did find a couple that I think would have done us real harm that fessed up to it, and we were able to get rid of them without having to use a peremptory.
Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Keith Mitnick. Okay. Do you attend some of these Trial Lawyers University and some of those groups where people share stories and best practices?
Well, I typically do that just through MCLE and buying books. I mean, for this particular trial, I read extensively. I've been practicing over 20 years, but you can always learn.
Sure.
And that's what I find is helpful is I read a book and I take from it what I think will make me a better trial lawyer. But I always reach out. If I see an article, if someone got a 25 million verdict, I will call that attorney and ask them how they did it. And if they're willing to talk to me, and 9 times out of 10, they're incredibly generous with their time.
Yeah, no, I find lawyers are very collaborative.
Yes.
Very, right. Yeah. Which I never expected. I thought it'd be much more cutthroat and competitive, but I see there's a lot of collaboration, particularly because, not every, you all practice different things so that you refer cases, et cetera, right?
Exactly. And it helps. I mean, that's the goal, right? For us as a practice, to elevate ourselves, to help one another, to kind of pull each other up. And I have certainly found that people who have more experience than me or who receive better verdicts than me being very generous with their time. And I, in turn, try to do that with others. When younger attorneys come to me and ask how I do a particular thing, I, in turn, try to help them because I remember being there and worrying every day I would commit malpractice,
So okay, so that's a good segue. So talk about your path and your journey to becoming a lawyer.
So I originally am from Michigan.
Yep.
And my best friend and I grabbed our high school diplomas and moved out here together when I was 17, she was 18.
Okay.
And just worked odd jobs in the beginning. I even did temporary security for Border Patrol, which I was not particularly good at, which is why I no longer do that job. But then I went into the insurance industry, and I worked in the insurance industry for probably 14 years and then decided to go to law school. And so I went to nighttime law school at University of San Diego while I still worked during the day. And then once I graduated, I transitioned, and it was kind of a natural transition into insurance.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you go undergraduate there too?
I did not. I went to SDSU undergrad.
Oh, San Diego. I see that right here. Okay. Oh, so you just moved from Michigan to California. I mean, well, the California dream. I mean, a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely. And in the beginning, we couldn't afford anything. So I certainly did not start at SDSU, even how cheap it was back then. I think I hit every junior college in San Diego County
that's funny.
Before moving over.
That's very funny. Yeah. San Diego is a great place. I mean,
it is hard to complain. But it's hard to complain.
Yeah, you do, but it's hard to complain. Well, maybe when you get these heat waves that come through there, I suppose.
Exactly.
But for the most part, it's a pretty nice place, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so that's an interesting path. So you were on the other side of it, and then you found your home. I mean, I assume that you're happy and you love what you do.
Absolutely. I mean, you hear these stories about attorney burnout.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that it's a lot of work and it's a tough job, but I think so much of that is finding the right firm and finding a firm that, people talk about the nebulous work-life balance, But there are firms that believe in it, and those are the firms that you need to find, because to grind for 6 years, billing over 200 each month to try to make partner, and then after that, you try to get other people to work as many hours as possible. You can achieve partnership without doing that and without sacrificing your life. And there are different paths. I started as an older attorney. I already had a child. I was pregnant with my son in my second year of law school. So that wasn't an option for me. And I was fortunate to find a firm that believed as I did that, you can do good work and not kill yourself.
Yeah, good. What part of Michigan are you from?
I am from, as a Michigander, we always have to do this, but I'm from right about here. So it's a Detroit suburb. It's what's that?
I mean, I know where that is. I know Detroit pretty well. So you're close to Detroit.
Yes. So I'm from Romulus, actually, where the airport is now. But I shouldn't say now. The airport's been there a long time, but it was pretty rural when I lived there.
Yeah. No, I there was a period in my life where I used to go to Detroit a lot for about 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got to know Detroit pretty well. They used to describe it like a donut, right? It was like hollowed out in the middle, and you had all these suburbs around the core.
Kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, people have been trying to rebuild and revitalize Detroit for a long time. I don't know. I think they're getting there.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a huge change after 2009. You had a lot of local people with money come in and really infuse cash into the city to save it. And they have. You go there now and you have industry again, and great places to go to eat, and kind of a renaissance of food and culture, and the culture has always been there. People didn't quite know it, but it's a terrific city, and it's come back a lot.
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah,
I've been to some really interesting places there that would only exist in a place like Detroit, where no windows, you walk in, it's like you're in Motown.
Yeah,
some places. And where I was in the real estate business, and the broker took us these places, said, it's going to be okay going in. When we leave, we're going to have to go a little faster to get to the car. It was like those kind of places. So
yeah, we have some of those in San Diego too. But
San Diego too, yeah. I haven't seen those in San Diego. I've seen La Jolla and Coronado and nice parts of San Diego.
All the shishi places.
Yeah, I haven't seen those places that you're talking about, but they're
good.
Yeah. But I remember driving down I think it's Route 5, and literally having like I think someone from Mexico like crossed the highway. We almost hit them driving there. I mean, so you have that influence from right on the border of Tijuana, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting. And are you the first attorney in your family?
Well, there was an uncle on my father's side many years ago. Other than him, then yes.
Okay.
Certainly in my immediate family. And
why did you decide to like pick up from Michigan? You couldn't take the winters anymore, and you wanted
exactly.
Is that it?
And when you're younger, I don't think you appreciate Michigan's beauty. There's a lot of beauty there. There really is. The lakes, and there's just, I go there now and it's such a beautiful state. But when you're young, you just think, oh God, I don't want to do this anymore. And so, I had visited here once in 9th grade. I fell in love with it. I went back and said to my best friend, will you move to Michigan with me? And she said, yes. And then I remember her running into choir class with a Cosmo magazine saying, Annette, it's a sign. They say that the male to female ratio is the highest in San Diego, and that's where we're going.
They're all Navy SEALs that you didn't.
That's right.
That's right. That's very funny. Yeah. No, I get that. I grew up in Boston, so and now I live in South Florida, so it's kind of like the same on the East Coast. But as you get older, you appreciate the things that maybe you didn't appreciate.
You do. Yeah. And I appreciate the community of Michigan. You don't have that a lot here. Everyone's kind of very, very nice, but very isolated. Whereas there, it's neighborhoods. If your child does something, you get a call before they even make it home to let you know. And everyone kind of watches out for each other. So that is a nice thing that you have there.
Yeah, for sure. No, I understand that. So what would you say today? I mean, you had an interesting path to become a lawyer. What would you tell somebody thinking about becoming a lawyer? What would your advice be?
Do it.
Do
You
it.
know, so many people, they just say, oh, 3 years is so long, and gosh, I've got so many other things going, it's so expensive. But my mother gave me the best advice, because I had a very small child at the time, and I had been thinking about being a lawyer for a few years, but then I had a baby, and I thought, well, so much for that. And I found out there was a night program at USD, and I remember saying to my mom, gosh, I'm so I'm older at this point. And she said, Annette, you know how many more years you have until you retire? You've got 30 years left before you retire. And
Right.
is this what you want to be doing for 30 more years? Or do you want to take 3 years and then for 27 years be a lawyer? And I thought, you're right. And I hear so many young, especially women, say that to me about, oh, I always wanted to be a lawyer. I say, then do it. You can be.
It's very true. I remember my mother told me my grandfather, her father, he was a doctor,
Mhm.
and in his like 50s, 60s, he was trying to convince my mother to go back to law school with him just because he wanted to
Yeah,
go to law school. So you're right. It really is never too late. I
it
mean,
isn't.
if
It
you
isn't.
if that's what you want to do, you should do it, because life is short and you should follow.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I think, I was kind of debating between an MBA and a JD, and my insurance company where I was working at the time, they said, well, we're going to pay for an MBA. We're not going to pay for a law degree because you'll leave us,
Right.
And I couldn't convince them that I'll sign something to say I'll stay at least 3 years. But I'm really glad I chose the path of JD, because you're trained to think in a completely different way. So even if you decide you don't want to be a lawyer, you really are taught some very good analysis skills, how to pull things apart, how to really investigate an idea. That's different than I think most other vocations that you may choose.
Yeah, no, I hear that a lot from the different lawyers I speak to. And I know in business, there are many lawyers that are CEOs of companies, and right. So you get real rigorous critical
Right.
thinking skills, right?
Yep.
That are relevant. Yeah, no, I did the MBA route myself, and I had no interest in being a lawyer, but in some ways similar. You have that case study
Yeah.
review, and yeah, it's good discipline thinking. I totally agree. So you say do it. Okay, good. So for everyone listening,
Do it.
do it. Okay, good. And all right, well, I think that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Just parting words. What do you want people to know about you and your firm, and what's the best way to connect with you?
Okay, thanks. So my firm is Callahan, Thompson, Sherman, Caudill, and we have the nice thing is, other than bankruptcy and family law, we do it all.
Okay.
So we have different disciplines within the firm, and we can handle from a startup company up to a huge Fortune 500 company. And I'm proud to work where I work. We're a terrific group of people. And if you want to get a hold of me, feel free to email me at aclark@ctsclaw.com, or you can call at 619-858-2606.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right. Well, listen, it's been a real pleasure. And for everybody, again, this is Annette Clark, and I'm going to have to read it again. Callahan, Thompson, Sherman, and Caudill
Very good.
in San Diego, California. And the whole
Yeah.
firm is in San Diego?
No, we have San Diego, San Francisco, Sacramento, and Orange County.
Oh, you do? Okay. How many total attorneys?
About 28.
Oh, 20. Okay, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
And this show is sponsored by EmotionTrac with a C, and we are a legal tech platform, and we help people like you, litigators, do case prep for mediation and jury trials. So thanks again, Annette. Really
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Appreciate you having me today.
You bet.